Just a few days before my wedding with Alex, I found out he had someone special in his heart. She's divorced with a kid and not accepted by Alex's family, so he randomly decided to marry me. If it's not the one he loves, it doesn't matter who he marries. I'll ask for a divorce as soon as I have a child. By then, I'll be divorced with a kid too, and they can't say anything. I didn't show any emotion, turned around, and left. I skipped the wedding and left a breakup video for my friend to play at the ceremony. I heard Alex, who thought he had it all, offered a huge reward just to find his missing bride. A few days before the wedding, Alex's friends came back to attend. While discussing wedding details with him, I accidentally overheard his conversation with them. "Alex, we thought you were set on marrying Wendy. Didn't expect you to move on so quickly. Have you really let her go?" one friend asked. Alex took a deep drag off his cigarette, exhaling slowly, sadness in his eyes. "How could I? I've loved her for over 10 years. It's impossible to let her go. She's like a mark on my heart, for a lifetime, it's impossible." My blood froze. Here I was, realizing my fiancé has a love he can't let go after over a decade. It felt like a bad movie cliché in real life. I didn't know whether to feel sorry for him or for myself, watching Alex's lonely gaze. Their chat continued. "Your story with Wendy is a real saga, always missing each other. Fate really plays games," another friend said, patting him on the shoulder. "Cheer up, most people marry someone they don't love. Life goes on. Your fiancé's family is great, you're not losing out by marrying her." Alex leaned back lazily in his chair, glancing at the speaker. "You guys are satisfied, right?" He nodded again. "Yeah, my family is satisfied too. Everyone's happy except me. For me, if it's not Wendy, it doesn't matter who I marry. I'll ask for a divorce once we have a child. Since they dismiss Wendy for being divorced with a kid, I'll be the same then. They'll have nothing to say." He took a harsh drag on his cigarette, pressing the butt firmly into the ashtray. "I won't believe they can stop us from being together by then." Alex sounded completely justified, with no guilt towards me. Only persistence and deep affection for Wendy. His words felt like a needle in my heart, draining my strength, leaving me leaning against the wall. I felt cold all over. What I thought was happiness was just a trap he carefully set. I met Alex through a blind date. I had just returned from studying abroad. His looks were my type, we matched in many ways, and both families were thrilled. We quickly made it official. We dated for less than half a year before he eagerly wanted to marry. He said I was beautiful and outstanding, worried someone else would take me, and wanted to marry me right away. I really liked him, thought he felt the same, and accepted his proposal. We picked out a home together, decorated it with my personal touch. I imagined countless times the life we'd build. Just last month, we took sweet wedding photos. Yesterday, the photos came out. He proudly displayed them in his office. Everything seemed perfect. I thought we were working towards the same goal, heading for happiness, but his words now feel like a slap in the face. I felt an agonizing heartache, shaking uncontrollably, struggling not to cry. One of his friends sighed, "Honestly, your fiancée seems innocent in all this." "Yeah, she's done nothing wrong. Don't you think you're going too far?" Another friend defended me. "Too far?" Alex's lips curled into a sarcastic smile, taking a sip from his glass, then slamming it down. "That's her fate. She deserves it." His words were filled with resentment. I didn't understand what I did to offend him. I only went on a date with him, his family liked me, I had a good impression of him, and that made me the bad guy in his eyes. I felt a mix of sadness and anger, clenching my fists so hard my nails dug into my palms. He blamed everything on me, as if all his unhappiness was my fault. But I did nothing wrong. "Alex, don't speak so harshly. Maybe you'll actually fall for her and won't want a divorce," one friend suggested. "Fall for her?" Alex's mouth twisted into a scornful grin, his tone firm. Except for Wendy, I won't love anyone else. Besides, to me, she's like a puppet, doesn't mean much. Alex propped his legs on the coffee table, leaned back with annoyance on his face. Forget it, let's not talk about her. His phone pinged. Picking it up, his eyebrows relaxed. Wendy's returning home from my wedding, her flight's tomorrow. Aren't you worried your fiancé will find out about you too? What if? She won't find out. I've kept it under wraps. She's never suspected a thing. Wendy said she's never seen me as a groom. She doesn't want to miss any big moments in my life. Oh, nice. I haven't seen her in ages. How long's she staying? Depends, she might just stay for good. Wow, Alex. Right after marriage, you'll have the best of both worlds. I don't have many options. If I could, I'd want to be with Wendy from youth to old age. But fate messes with us. Other women don't interest me at all. No interest at all, huh? Then why fake it so well? What if Molly refuses the divorce? Refuses? Alex raised an eyebrow, smirking sinisterly, lips parted, and his words sent chills down my spine. I'll find a way to make her divorce. Molly really values her family and friends. I know if I mess with any of them, she'll just do what I want. His voice was cold and firm. He'd probably thought 1,000 times about how to deal with me, how to control me. But you guys have to keep this a secret from me. Don't let anything slip. I don't want to drag Wendy into this and ruin her reputation. My legs felt like jelly, shaking all over, and the tears wouldn't stop, like a broken string of pearls. I wanted to storm in and tear him apart, but a small bit of reason told me not to do anything rash. I leaned against the wall for a long time. Once I made up my mind, I wiped away my tears and walked away. As soon as I got home, I checked flights and booked a ticket and hotel for the wedding day abroad. After getting that sorted, I collapsed on the couch, recalling all the sweet memories we've had since we met. They were all just happiness. He was cold and prideful to everyone else but was gentle and caring with me. I'd bragged countless times to my friends about finding true love on a blind date. On my social media, it was all about our daily life together. But now, looking back, it all seems so ironic. Just yesterday, I posted our wedding photos, and my page got flooded with visitors. Among all the well wishes, one comment stood out. Huh, the guy looks like he's doing it against his will. The comment was from someone named Sweetie. Some other users clapped back at her, saying, "Are you just jealous of their happiness? They clearly seem so in love." Sweetie replied, "Time will tell everything." I vaguely remembered this account. She'd commented on my posts and videos with a bit of a snarky tone. I hadn't given it much thought before. I mean, you meet all sorts online, right? As long as it's not over the top, I usually just let it be. But her confident tone, along with her IP address, made something click in my mind. I clicked on her profile. She hadn't posted much, just a few times. But there was one photo, a man holding a child at a playground, captioned father and son. The child, smiling brightly on the man's shoulder. I immediately recognized him. That was Alex. Some comments praised them. Even from the back, they look great. Such a handsome and responsible dad. She responded simply, "Thank you, he's always been a great dad." I checked the date on this post, it was from a year ago. Then it hit me. Alex had traveled abroad for a week around then, saying he was checking out a business opportunity. I always gave him his space, so I didn't question it much. After he returned, he proposed to me. He said he couldn't stop thinking about me every day he was away, and he couldn't wait to make me his wife. I believed him. Thinking back now, it was probably just a plan they cooked up together, with me as their stepping stone. Her most recent post mentioned coming back to the country, with a plane ticket attached. Been a while since I've been back. Miss him a lot, can't wait. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. And I'm sure Alex is as well. I want to see his face when he realizes his prey has turned the tables on him. Let's hope they can handle the surprise I have in store. As usual, I posted a lovey-dovey update. Can't wait. We will walk to happiness together. Attached was a photo of me leaning against Alex, looking like quite the stunning couple. Soon, familiar faces were congratulating us. Molly, you must be the happiest bride. Molly and Alex are a perfect match, congratulations. Just as expected, Sweetie chimed in. Getting married equals happiness? Then why are there so many divorces? You could feel her bitterness through the screen. That uneasy feeling she has? It's exactly what I want. I didn't respond to her, just skipped over to thank my friends for their well wishes. Thanks. You all better be there on the wedding day. Hee, I'll definitely be the prettiest bride. While scrolling on my phone, Alex came back home, reeking of smoke and booze. He seemed drunk, but I ignored him. He took off his jacket and came over to hug me. Molly, we're getting married. I'm so happy. I gotta say, it's a shame he didn't become an actor. His gaze was intense, his dark eyes shining like stars, making it hard to resist getting lost in his seemingly gentle eyes. If I hadn't overheard him talking with his buddies today, I would have thought he was truly happy about marrying me. I tore my gaze away and forced a smile. Me too. If it's a game of acting, I can play that game too. He slowly leaned in to kiss me, but I put my hand over his lips. You reek, it's awful. He slowly sniffed his clothes, holding my hand with a hint of grievance in his voice. Just a bit. You're not disgusted by me, are you? Around me, he liked to play the submissive role, sweet and docile like a puppy. So different from the aloof CEO everyone else saw. I used to believe I was his exception. I pulled my hand from his grip, shoving him a bit. Go clean up. He sighed, slowly getting up and staggering. Fine, if you don't like it, I'll wash up. After taking a couple of steps, he turned around with a serious expression. By the way, tomorrow, a friend of mine from America is coming just for the wedding. I need to welcome her. Without giving away any emotions, I kept my eyes on the phone, not even glancing up. Sure, go ahead. She's a girl, so I might have to spend some time showing her around. He explained further. I looked up slowly. He was watching me carefully. I smiled. Got it, it's been a while since you saw an old friend. You should definitely hang out. Seeing I wasn't upset, he relaxed. That's why I love you. My wife is so understanding. I arched my brows, of course. The next morning, Alex woke up early, all dressed up, saying he was too excited to sleep. He asked if I wanted to join him in picking up his friends. I shook my head, holding back my nausea. They say weddings are hectic and exhausting. Today, I need to rest and recharge for being a bride tomorrow. After he left, I quickly packed a suitcase, gathered all the important documents and valuables. I packed the rest of my personal items, put them in a courier, and had them sent to my best friend Jane's place. Once that was done, I dialed Alex's rival, Larry. Molly? What's up? You're interested in that land in the south, right? If you are, let's meet this afternoon at 3 p.m., on your turf. There's some land up for bid in the south, and both Alex and Larry want it. I've heard Alex say it's crucial for his company. He's determined to win it. At 3 p.m., in a private room at a club, Larry showed up, looking suspicious. Molly, you're about to marry Alex. Why are you contacting me? What kind of trick are you two playing? I'm not falling for it. But you still came. Larry, I'm in a rush, so I'll be blunt. I can give you the information you want, but I need your help. First thing tomorrow morning. You're planning to ditch the wedding? After hearing my reason, he squinted his eyes, sizing me up. Yeah. Can I know why? You know Wendy? He nodded. I get it. So even you knew. Turns out everyone knows except me. I chuckled sadly, realizing I was the only one kept in the dark, like a fool. He studied me a bit, blew out some smoke rings, and said quietly, "I'll trust you this time. Let's go over tomorrow's plan." An hour later, I handed him the info, and he escorted me out. "Miss Molly, I hope this collaboration is successful." Since leaving in the morning, Alex hadn't checked in with me. I sent him a text, pretending to ask if he had arranged things with his friends. It was evening before he replied. "Still out, taking her shopping. She hasn't been back in a while, everything fascinates her. Babe, I miss you. I really wish I could see you now. Come back early, drive safely, gotta pick me up first thing tomorrow." While sending this text, my hands were shaking, almost dropping the phone, because I saw him coming in the door. Wendy hugged him from behind. He was texting me back, yet still flirting with her. Our wedding house is a big villa. For safety, it has cameras. He knows this, yet brought Wendy here, confident I wouldn't suspect him, so openly inviting her to our home. Switching back to the surveillance app, the footage showed him kissing Wendy. There was even a kid nearby. Despite being mentally prepared, seeing them hold each other caused an immense pain in my chest. I clutched my heart, curled up on the bed, watching the footage intently as large tears silently rolled down my face. They stumbled from the doorway to the sofa, kissing passionately. I felt dizzy and nauseous, and I rushed to the bathroom to vomit furiously. Only when I threw up bile and tasted nothing but bitterness did I stop. After a quick wash, I returned to the room and recorded a video. I edited in the footage of Alex and Wendy being intimate. The next morning, Alex came to pick me up, looking tired. Jane, my maid of honor, noticed Alex's weary look and teased. "Alex, looking so drained this early, were you up to no good last night, or just too excited to sleep?" I couldn't stop thinking about today. My mind was filled with images of the wedding. How could I sleep? He rubbed his temples, forcing energy, acting as if nothing was amiss. Of course, after pretending for over a year with me, his acting skills are top-notch now. "Babe, I'm so happy you're finally my bride." He knelt in front of me, holding my feet tenderly, and put on my wedding shoes. The guests praised our love, envying our fairy tale romance. "Molly's marrying the right guy. Look how considerate Alex is. Alex has always spoiled Molly." "Molly, any tips on how to land a successful CEO?" Alex took my hand. I fell for Molly at first sight, it's fate. You all can't compare. I smiled on the outside, yet felt dead inside. Jane and I didn't expose him. We quietly watched and played along. "I'm happy too, Alex, marrying you is truly my blessing." Under the guests' blessings, I got into the wedding car with him. In the car, I couldn't help but ask him, "Alex, do you really want to marry me?" His eyes flickered for a second, but he quickly regained composure, looked at me confidently, and said, "Molly, of course, you're the girl I wanted to marry from the moment I saw you." I laughed inwardly. More like a stepping stone you spotted instantly. I was willing to give him one last chance. If he showed any remorse, I'd back off. I only gave Larry half the information. The crucial details were in the other half. But all I saw in his eyes was deceit. "Molly, not sure why, but I suddenly feel a bit uneasy, like a void in my heart." Alex touched his chest. "It's an indescribable feeling." I patted his hand. "Maybe you just need some rest." All morning, I went along with the ceremony procedures. At the hotel, while greeting guests with him, Wendy showed up in a white dress, holding her son. "Hi, I'm Wendy. I've been friends with Alex for years. You're so busy with the wedding. I had him accompany me all day yesterday. You don't mind, do you?" She pretended to apologize, but was actually showing off. I noted the hickey on her neck, smirking. How could I? I never restrict his whereabouts. Even if it's an old friend back in town or a stray dog, I'd let Alex take a walk. I don't go out of my way to be nasty, but let's just say I'm too well-mannered to do so. Doesn't mean I can't when needed. As soon as I finished speaking, I saw Wendy's smile freeze and she looked at Alex for help. Alex gave me a puzzled look. He always thought of me as well-taught, gentle, never one to speak harshly. Jane chimed in, her laugh ringing. Right, Alex, I heard you're free, help me walk my dog next time, or he'll wreck the house. Sure. Alex didn't want any drama today. He agreed, though he looked like he swallowed a lemon. Then he wrapped his arm around my waist, whispering, Babe, what's up with you today? Nothing, just expressing my enthusiasm. Dogs and humans are equals. I smiled, not letting any displeasure slip through. Alex studied my face, unsure if I was really upset. Wendy sighed softly. Alex, I knew. Yesterday, spending the day with me upset Miss Molly. What? You spent the whole day with the groom before the wedding and want to rub it in the bride's face? Jane couldn't take it, she shot back. I didn't mean that. I haven't been back for a while, not familiar. Alex and I have known each other since childhood. I wasn't thinking. She tried to defend herself, looking all pitiful. With today's technology, Mrs. Song was abroad for 2 years and can't use domestic apps. Jane couldn't stand people like Wendy. Carry on inside, there are more guests. I didn't want to argue, it wasn't worth wasting time. Dad. Who's that? Wendy's son, previously captivated by the balloon decor at the hotel entrance, finally caught up. Seeing Alex holding me, he quickly changed expression and loudly asked Alex. Everyone stared at us in shock. Wendy casually smiled at me. Alex spoils Kim. They're close, he's used to calling him that, don't mind. She said it lightly, like accepting it was my only option. Molly, Kim's cute. I often took him around. Don't mind the kid. Alex tried to reassure me, then lifted Kim. Kim, miss Daddy? Yeah, Daddy, don't be with that woman. Mom says she's bad. Kim pointed at me, pouting. Alright, listen to Kim. But today we're playing a game, so we have to be together. Kim, don't be mad. Alex coaxed the child, with a doting smile, accidentally letting slip his true feelings. No way. Mom said anyone who takes Daddy is bad. Molly, don't be mad, he's just a kid, doesn't know better. Alex was a bit guilty-faced, I widened my eyes, confused. Kim calls you Dad, doesn't he have a real one? Miss Song, where's Kim's biological father? Jane covered her mouth, laughing joyfully. Right, the kid doesn't look like Alex, does he? Huh, funnily enough, poorly raised kids might do their business anywhere, but yours calls anyone Dad, how enlightening. Jane, shut up. Alex's face turned ugly. Jane wasn't buying it. Wow, love being a daddy, huh? Or can't have your own? My soon-to-be mother-in-law came over, glaring at Wendy, whispered something to Alex, his expression softened a little. Wendy, take Kim and go inside, please. Some groomsmen who knew Wendy came to greet her. After they went in, Alex hurried to soothe me. Molly, Kim's not really my kid, back then, Wendy. I know, they don't resemble each other at all. I had looked into his business with Wendy, couldn't bother listening to excuses, cut him off. Finally, the commotion settled. Alex's family was wealthy, guests were either rich or important. Practically everyone notable in the city attended, even Larry. When Alex saw him, he was a bit surprised. Larry, why are you here? Larry smirked, here to congratulate you on your big day. Alex blocked his way, leave, you're not welcome here. Aren't you petty? Here I am with good wishes, and this is how you treat me. Larry shrugged it off, still smiling, glanced at me. So this is the bride? So pretty. He took out his phone, getting closer. Wanna add me on message? Alex's face darkened, he stepped between us, snapped at Larry, get lost. Stay away from my wife. I just thought your wife seemed friendly, wanted to be friends. Why so serious? Larry feigned innocence. Such nice jewelry, I'll just keep it for Molly. Jane cheerfully took the jewelry box from his assistant. Alex looked like he was about to burst into flames. Guests are guests, Alex, today is your big day, don't be so stern. My future mother-in-law approached, with a smile, nudged Alex and gestured for Larry. Welcome, here today, please, come in. Larry laughed warmly as he handed over a red envelope. Hi, Auntie. Just a little something from me. Congrats to Alex for marrying such a wonderful wife. He completely ignored Alex's fiery gaze and strutted into the banquet hall. It wasn't until 11:30 that all the guests had arrived, and I finally caught a breath. Jane helped me head to a room to change into my wedding dress. We only had 15 minutes according to the schedule. I took off my welcome dress and high heels and slipped into something comfy, jeans and a baseball cap. My wedding dress and headpiece were already set on a mannequin in the room, turned away from the door, looking almost like a real person at first glance. Alex said I was like a puppet, right? Well, let him marry a puppet then. After packing up, I pulled out a USB drive from my purse and handed it to Jane. Now it's all up to you. Don't worry. I've been holding back for too long. Today, we'll expose those awful people, Jane confidently assured me. She opened the door, peeked outside, no one around. I pulled the cap down a bit to shadow my face and quietly made my way to the stairwell. Down in the hotel's underground garage, Larry's assistant was waiting. Miss Molly, please get in. I've already brought your luggage. We'll take you there now. Great, thanks a lot. The car slowly started and left the garage. The wedding had officially begun. You could hear the MC's voice clearly outside as they read the opening lines with great enthusiasm. Funny thing is, I wrote those lines. Spent countless nights crafting and revising them, perfecting every word. I'd spent a whole year planning this wedding. Thought it'd be the start of our love story. Didn't expect a tragic ending. Thanks, Alex, for the disappointment. I'm done with you now. Enjoy the big surprise I have coming your way. I sent a pre-written text to my parents, telling them I was calling off the wedding and asking them to keep it quiet. Then I blocked Alex and some of his friends' numbers. The driver hit the gas, speeding toward the airport. Half an hour later, we arrived. Larry's private jet was already waiting. I'd booked it last minute since flights from New York to San Francisco were sold out. Any other flight risked Alex stopping me, because of his powerful connections in New York. My ticket was for a flight departing from Hong Kong where Alex holds less influence. A private jet was the fastest way to escape New York. Before boarding, I handed an envelope to the driver. Here's the second part of the info I promised. Please thank Mr. Alex for his help. Just as I was boarding, I heard people outside, shouting about finding someone. I pulled my cap lower and quickly boarded the plane. As the plane taxied and took off, rising above the clouds, I finally exhaled in relief. I took out my phone to find countless missed calls and messages. The photographer, who I'd hired and were close, sent me a video of the scene after I'd left the hotel. In the video, Alex looked cheerful on stage. The MC announced, "Please welcome the bride." But nothing happened for several minutes. This was supposed to be the part where the bride's father escorts her into the banquet hall to give her away to the groom. But the bride was nowhere to be seen. Where's the bride? Murmurs began among the guests. Alex frowned, glancing around and checking his watch. Someone should see what's up. In the midst of growing unrest, Jane walked out in her pink bridesmaid dress. "Jane, where's Molly?" Alex urgently asked. Jane grabbed the MC's mic. Before stepping on stage, Molly wanted us to watch a video first. Jane pressed a button on the remote, and the screen behind them started showing a video of Alex and Wendy kissing in our living room. Their faces and expressions were crystal clear. Everyone stared in shock at the screen. Alex finally snapped and yelled at Jane, "Turn it off." He lunged at her to grab the remote, but Jane tossed it off the stage. Through the speakers, my voice rang out, "Sorry, everyone, for this spectacle. I never imagined my fiancé Alex would bring another woman to our home just a day before our wedding. I only found out today that he's using our marriage to cover up his affair with Miss Wendy. Since you're so in love, I'll step aside and let you have each other. Just don't hurt anyone else. I'm calling off the wedding, Alex. You're too disgusting. I want no part of this." The screen finally displayed my tear-streaked, pale face, my voice hoarse and filled with sorrow and despair. "It's not like that, Molly." Alex's face turned pale as he rushed out of the hall towards the bride's room. His entourage scrambled to turn off the screen. The video cut to Alex at the bride's room, pounding on the door. "Molly, there's been a misunderstanding. Let's talk." He pleaded over and over, but nobody answered. "Molly? Open the door, please." Finally, hotel staff unlocked the door. Inside was the back of a figure in a wedding dress. "Molly." Alex reached out, and with a loud thud, the bride fell. Only then did everyone realize it was a mannequin. "Molly. You're good." Alex kicked the mannequin furiously. His face was livid as he shouted to his people, "Go to the airport. Make sure you get Molly back here." On social media, stories about Alex, me, and Wendy flooded everywhere. The runaway bride, Alex, and Wendy became the top 3 hot topics. Alex became the laughingstock of all of New York. Nearly 30 years old, and he got whipped in front of a crowd, including many guests, by his grandfather with a wooden stick. He was beaten so badly he was covered in blood. After the beating, Alex stood up in front of all the media and said, "I'm offering $1 billion reward for anyone who can provide a clear clue about the whereabouts of my fiancée, Molly. Bring her back, and you'll get $10 billion. The media went wild, and everyone online started searching for someone named Molly. Luckily, on my way to the airport, I made all photos and videos on social media private. Our family is more of a literary family and doesn't have much attention online, so not much of my personal info got out, just a few photos. The reward Alex offered was so tempting that even Jane was interested. "Molly, what if I tell him your whereabouts once you're on the plane? That $1 billion sounds nice." Wendy got publicly kicked out by Alex's family, and her reputation took a nosedive. Her past with Alex was dug up. "That girl, I know her. She's always chasing after people with power. We were classmates in high school. She'd be with Alex, but also secretly had a thing with John. Alex's family never gave him power or support and even sent him abroad. So, she went after John and secured her position by having a kid. She and John divorced in just over a year, and the child wasn't acknowledged. Could it be, the kid isn't even John's? That's why they didn't acknowledge it? That begs the question, whose kid is it? Maybe she doesn't even know? I heard she took some socialite training courses and then cast her net wide. Why else do you think she's back now? She had an affair in New York and got humiliated. She couldn't stay any longer, so she returned to find Alex, the fool. So, is Alex blind? How can he be played like that? I guess he's just stupid, or maybe Wendy's really that manipulative. Once I got to Hong Kong, I caught my flight to San Francisco. I did both my undergrad and grad studies in California. I was planning to start a business in the Bay Area after graduation, but I got called home to go on a matchmaking date, so my startup plans were delayed. Now, I finally have the time to do what I love. The online buzz grew, and I heard that Wendy couldn't even walk down the street without being recognized. Aren't you the girl Alex brought back to the family house? Whose kid is yours? We're all curious. After I left, it seems Alex didn't go back to Wendy. Not sure if his family pressured him or if there was another reason, but they never got together. Wendy went to Alex's house but was kicked out right away. She became like a rat scurrying away, unwelcome in New York, unable to return to the US, and in the end, she went to some small country with few Chinese people to lay low. Later, two big companies fought over a piece of land in downtown New York, and Alex lost. Because of this, his family punished him again and sent him to a subsidiary company to learn from his mistakes. Larry, wanting to thank me, asked what I wanted as a gift. After thinking about it, I politely declined. I knew he had a hand in exposing Wendy and that Alex's downfall was also partly due to him. Both outcomes were pleasing to me. I had teamed up with him to escape marriage and for revenge, and now my goals were reached. I rented an office in a small town in South Bay, teamed up with two former classmates, and started an AI robotics company, a robot. Over these years, I kept a low profile, staying connected only with family and a few friends, not showing up on social media again. 3 years later, the company went public on the New York Stock Exchange, and I gave an interview as the founder. Some keen-eyed netizens noticed that the boss of a robot looked a lot like the runaway bride, Molly, from 3 years back. The next morning, Alex knocked on my door. "Molly, you've been hiding well, huh? So, Alex, are you here to drag me back?" I gestured, and several robots quickly surrounded us. Back in New York, he held all the power, and my family couldn't compete, making it easy for him to manipulate me. But now, I'm not afraid of him. I have enough confidence. He laughed bitterly, showing sadness. 3 years without seeing you, and you still see me as an enemy. Molly, do you really hate me that much? If I told you I've been looking for you and thinking about you all this time, would you give me another chance? He pleaded softly, with teary eyes. I knew he had been looking for me these 3 years, but our relationship was a mistake from the start. He took advantage of me. How could I forgive him? Yes, I admit. At first, I just wanted to marry someone quickly, have a kid, then divorce and marry Wendy. But with you, it was different. Every moment was a joy, and I was genuinely happy to marry you. Before you, I went on many dates. Some were even eager to marry, not caring I had someone else. I rejected them because I didn't like them at all. My stubbornness ruined everything, our relationship included. When I was young, I had this impossible idea of love. I thought it was true love until you left. Then I realized how wrong I was. Molly, right now my heart belongs only to you. Would you give me another chance? Can we start over, please? I shook my head. Alex, there's no going back. You hurt me, and I got back at you. We're even. From now on, let's just be acquaintances if we ever meet again. I can't do that, Molly. Believe me, every day for 3 years, I couldn't stop thinking about you. He moved to hug me, but the robots held him back. He didn't even touch my sleeve. Go back. There's nothing left between us now. He looked at me with sadness in his eyes, and as I closed my door, he walked away, defeated. I once loved him wholeheartedly. I still remember the butterflies I felt when I was with him. He gave me love, and he ruined it too. But I still believe true love exists. It's just not the center of my world anymore. My future is bound to be bright, just without him. Alex's epilogue. Wendy was my teenage obsession, but we always missed each other. The elders in my family were in charge and never agreed to let me marry her. Someone gave me a bad idea: find someone random, make it look like a second marriage with kids, and then my family would be okay with it. I figured it might work, so I started going on blind dates arranged by my family. None of them made me want to get closer. I figured I should at least find someone I didn't dislike. After all, we'd be living together for years. Even if it was an act, I needed to pick someone who seemed right. Then I met Molly. She had just graduated and come back to the country. She had this aura of bookish charm, gentle and composed, with a very clean vibe. One look, and I just knew it was her. Turns out, I didn't choose wrong. She was emotionally stable and easy to fool. She believed everything I said, and being with her was easy. Honestly, I really enjoyed her company. Sometimes I thought, if Wendy wasn't in the picture, I'd just stay with Molly. But sadly, Wendy had already taken up space in my heart, and there was no room for anyone else. I felt a bit guilty but thought I could smooth things over with some cash in the future. She couldn't stir up much trouble in my life. The day before the wedding, Wendy came back. She wanted to see my wedding home. I agreed. We passionately kissed inside the house, but all I could picture was Molly's face. I couldn't explain my feelings, just a sense of unease. Halfway through the kiss, I stopped and found an excuse to see Wendy and her child off. "Are you guys happy now?" In the wedding car, Molly asked me. "Alex, do you truly want to marry me?" She looked serious, and I felt guilty for some reason, but I nodded firmly. I never rejected the idea of marrying her. The closer it got to the ceremony, the more I felt a bad vibe. But looking at Molly, she seemed completely fine. Until the bride entrance part, she never showed up. She ran away. That's when I panicked. I frantically tried to find her but had no luck. Back at the wedding home, I found her things were already gone. My heart felt like it had a big hole. The house felt like a cage without her. I looked into her activities in the past few days and found out that on the day I hosted a party at a club for a friend, she had been there too, but didn't show up. That day, friends were curious why I'd suddenly agree to marry someone else. They all knew about my feelings for Wendy. I couldn't really explain it, maybe it was my stubbornness that wouldn't admit defeat. I said some hurtful things about Molly. Honestly, I felt bad right after. Then, I hadn't realized I had already fallen for her. She must have heard the conversation. That's why she left so decisively. I wanted to find her right then and explain everything, beg for her forgiveness. I'd rather she yelled at me or got someone to beat me up than just vanish silently from my world. She left without a trace, leaving nothing at home. I searched everywhere for signs of her and finally stumbled upon a big flower bed in the backyard. She had tended to it herself. There were lots of flowers, mostly seedlings since she didn't have much time. Every day, I carefully took care of these plants, imagining the day she'd return so we could watch the moon and flowers in the garden together. Unfortunately, even as all the flowers bloomed, I couldn't win her back. I lost her with my own hands. Wendy contacted me a few times after, but my heart didn't flutter anymore. No love, no hate. I just had my assistant deal with her. The teenage obsession finally blew away like the wind. The next time I heard about Molly was years later. By then, she was the owner of a successful public company. I still went to find her, hoping she'd give me one more chance. She looked at me calmly, no longer the girl who saw only me. She told me in her own words, we were done. All I could do was watch her from afar in the media. She was doing great, living an amazing life, just without me.